Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode, we're reviewing WrestleMania 41s. We're doing both nights at once, so this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video. I am going to grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. I'm also going to go back and compare it to what my prediction for each match was. With that being said, let's start off with night 1. We start the show with Jelly Roll doing America the Beautiful. Pretty good. Jelly Roll's a good singer. Not someone I'm personally into, but he did a good job. Then we get our obligatory Triple H introducing us to the show. That's followed up with our World Heavyweight Championship to start the show. We get Gunther defending against Jay Uso. I thought this was a good match, and I really liked the build-up to this match. I liked that Jay switched and got a little more serious towards the end of it. I thought this was a fun match. I thought this was a perfect way to start off a show. Jay Uso did pick up the win. I also predicted him to win, so at this point I am 1-0. I'm going to give this one a 4. I rather enjoyed this. Look, I know this is an Omega Okada, but for me, I look at it at my level of enjoyment, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the right person won. The only thing I would say was a little bit of a misstep was Gunther cheating. Gunther's such a strong character that he shouldn't have to cheat, and he hasn't up until this point. So with that, gives it a little bit less in my opinion, but I still really liked it. Now going from there, we get the War Raiders defending their World Tag Team Championship against the New Day. Look, this match is probably better off on Monday Night Raw. I wouldn't say this was a bad match, but I don't think it's a WrestleMania-worthy match. The New Day do pick up the win while cheating as well. I did pick this correct, so I am 2-0 in my predictions. But I'm going to give the match a 3. Right in the middle. I don't think it was good. I don't think it was bad. It was filler, in my opinion. And with teams as talented as the New Day and the War Raiders, they shouldn't be having filler matches. Next up, we get Jade Cargill versus Naomi. This was one match I was really looking forward to. I was looking forward to see how much Jade has improved, because there has been a time where it feels like every big match she improves and gets better, and Naomi is a great wrestler. Probably one of the most underrated wrestlers in wrestling right now. I wanted to like this match going into it. The story was there. The match was there. It was a little bit clumsy. Jade did pick up the win, which I was correct again, giving me 3-0. But the match was a little clumsy, a little awkward at times. I'm giving this one a 3 too. I almost gave this a 2, but it didn't get to the point where it wasn't enjoyable, if that makes sense. I could watch this match again, whereas if it was a 2, I wouldn't ever want to watch it again. I just thought it was just there. Next up, we get the U.S. Championship. LA Knight going up against Jacob Fatu. This was my 100% guarantee lock of the night, and it came out just as I thought. Jacob Fatu picked up the win. Interesting that Solo Sikoa only walked him out to the ramp and then left. I do think that LA Knight got a little bit too much in this match. I think Jacob should have been more dominant. The BFT that he hit, that I don't really think he caught him. It didn't look like it to me. Again, I thought this was a good match. Probably right, like I said, like the last two, right in the middle, another 3. I did pick it right, so again, we're 4-0 now on my predictions. But I don't know. I think this should have been more of a coming out party for Jacob Fatu, if you ask me. Next up, we get El Grande Americano going up against the replacement for Rey Mysterio, Rey Fenix. They stuck with the Rays. Before the match, Americano gets involved with Vikingo, who is on the outside, which, how nuts is that WWE bought AAA? I mean, that's probably the biggest shock of the weekend. I would have never guessed that in a million years. With Vikingo and the former owners, I guess somewhat owners of AAA, maybe it's only a partial ownership deal, in the crowd, it was kind of neat seeing that. Although, it kind of felt a little cheesy with this character, because this character's a little bit, how should I say, insensitive to Lucha Libre, and you're meant to hate him, but the wrestler under the mask, and I'll stay in kayfabe, because as you all know, I like to keep kayfabe with El Generico, so I'm going to keep kayfabe with this. The wrestler is a fantastic wrestler, El Grande Americano, which makes you want to cheer him, which you shouldn't want to cheer him. I was correct in picking El Grande Americano to win. He did win here. However, he did replace Rey Mysterio. I'm going to consider that I went 5-0, but let me know in the comments if I shouldn't count that towards my predictions because the opponent changed. I think he would have won either way, in my opinion. My reasoning is I think there's going to be an ongoing story till there's a mask versus mask or mask versus hair match. And wouldn't it be cool if he fought Vikingo at the Worlds Collide pay-per-view? That's going to be a fantastic show. For those of you that aren't familiar with AAA, definitely tune into that. You are going to see some of the best talent that you've not seen yet. Vikingo is easily a top 10 wrestler in the world, in my opinion. And a lot of the other wrestlers they have there are so good and so underrated. Just wait, you'll see. Trust me on this one. That's probably going to be the best show of the year, in my opinion. Going from that, we get HBK coming out to announce the attendance. That poor guy just looked tired. He went from the Hall of Fame to the early morning stand and deliver to WrestleMania. I don't think he got any sleep. I felt bad for him, but, it was still cool to see him. That led us into a match that a lot of people were looking forward to. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's World Championship. I thought this was actually good. I liked the fact that they worked a little bit of the awkwardness into the match. It felt like it was a little bit of a shoot at times. I did enjoy this. The one thing I will say, because there was a couple times I was watching and I looked away, their gear was a little too similar, and I had to take a moment to go like, okay, who's that again? Before, especially when you were looking at the backs of them. So maybe next time have gear that clashes with each other, like one of you guys wear black and the other wear white. But anyway, I did like this match. I hope this feud keeps going. I really hope it does, because it is building Tiffany Stratton to that next level, to where she's looked at as being on the level of a Charlotte Flair. I enjoyed this match. I'm giving it a 4. I did pick the winner right. I picked Tiffany to win here. I thought that was really cool. Next up, we see the Hall of Famers, as we usually do at WrestleMania, except Lex Luger wasn't there. I remember they mentioned that he had a fall the day of the Hall of Fame, so maybe he just wasn't physically able to get back out there again. Hope not. I hope he's okay. I love seeing Lex Luger go in the Hall of Fame. He's one of those guys that's kind of underrated and kind of underappreciated. He is definitely of the era of my youth, of me growing up being a fan, so he's a guy that I revere for that. Great to see him stand up and have his introduction that was well-deserved and well overdue. I hope he's doing well. Then we get into the main event of night 1. We get the triple threat match. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. First, before we get into the match, let's talk about Living Color. Living Color playing CM Punk out was absolutely amazing. I absolutely love Living Color. They're one of those bands that, while everybody knows them, they may know 1 or 2 songs. They know Cult of Personality and probably Glamour Boys as well. But they got such a deep and rich catalog, and they're so musically talented, especially Vernon Reid on guitar. Probably one of the best guitarists of all time. I love this. I love the way that they interacted with Punk when he came out. It felt so cool seeing them out there. I love that entrance. Really cool. Now let's get into the match. This is my favorite match of night 1 and my second favorite match overall between the 2 nights. We'll get to the other one here very shortly. I enjoyed it. I love the story that all 3 men were telling, the trust and lack of trust issues. Where does Heyman lie? Where is his loyalties? We get to the end. We see he gives a chair to Punk that devastates Roman, and then he turns on Punk and gives him the nugget shot. I always think when you see that move, the ding, I always think of the ding from WrestleMania games and the Nintendo 64 games like No Mercy and Revenge. When you would hit that move, it would go ding, like the bell was ringing. Anyway, then we see Roman get very excited. He's happy that the wise man has chose him. The wise man instructs him to get his revenge on Seth Rollins for the original chair shot that ended the Shield. But then he turns on Roman too, and he hits a ding again. This time he kind of shifted a little bit. I don't know what that was about. It was kind of a little bit disturbing there, Paul. Interestingly, I mentioned in my preview that I knew he would be involved in the end. I didn't quite think he would join Seth Rollins, but I thought that was an option. I did pick Seth to win, and Seth did pick up the win here. This is by far the best match of night 1. I'm giving this a 5. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. This was, other than the first match and maybe the Phoenix and El Grande and Tiffany match, I think these were the matches that felt like it were WrestleMania matches. It felt like they deserved to be on the card. I thought they were all good. For night 1, I went 7-0, 6-0 if you don't count the El Grande Americano match. So I'm doing good on my predictions. I'm going to give night 1 a 4. I thought it was a good show. The bulk of that being the 3 matches that I'm talking about brought up the score more, or the 4 matches I'm talking about brought up the score more than the 3 matches that were a little bit lackluster. Made a little bit more enjoyable than it should have been. So I'm giving the overall night 1 a 4. Now we're going into night 2. We get God Bless America by Ava Max, who I've never heard of. Maybe I'm just old. Maybe she's huge. She sounded good out there. It sounded like a great song. I'll have to look up her music. I don't even know what style of music she sings, to be honest with you. That led us into Stephanie McMahon, which I'm going to be honest with you. I love seeing Triple H, and I love seeing Stephanie McMahon coming out. Again, they tie it back to that Attitude Era, to that teenage years, that childhood. As long as I've been a wrestling fan, Stephanie's been there, whether it be in the Rockers t-shirt in the catalog or the girl that The Undertaker tied to the cross. She's always been there, so it's nice to see her there again. I love seeing her. She looks great. I mean, I think she's my age or maybe even a year or two older than me, but she looks great for her age. That's followed up, and I'm going to say it right away. My favorite match of night 2 and favorite match of both nights overall. For the Women's World Championship, we get Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. The story being told here of Io being disrespected, of Bianca and Rhea kind of overlooking her, Rhea not being able to beat Io on a one-on-one or not being able to beat Bianca. The little intricacies, much like the other 3-way on night 1, made this so interesting. You felt the crowd swell as Io would get her moves in. They would get more and more behind her. She was the underdog story. She was Rocky. This was awesome. I love the story this told. I love all 3 of these women. Rhea Ripley's probably one of my favorite wrestlers in the world right now. Io Sky is making that argument to get in that list as well. Bianca is up there as well. These are the 3 best women wrestlers in the world today, and I think there's a big gap between them and whoever is behind that. Maybe Toni Storm. I'd probably put Toni Storm in there. I mean, she's not as huge as a gap between them. She's right up there with them 3. But these were amazing, amazing talents. Io Sky picked up the win. I did get this wrong because I did predict that she would be in the match just to eat the pin, but she wasn't. She actually pulled it off. I absolutely love this match. I'm giving this match a 5. Next up, we have our Sin City Street Fight. We got Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I like this match, but I think that this match never got into the higher gear. It felt a little bit slow and prodding, much like night 1 where we had Living Color. For this night, we had Kerry King playing out Damian Priest, which was outstanding. If you don't know who Kerry King is, he's a legendary guitarist of Slayer. If you don't know who Slayer is, wow, you're probably young. Slayer has been one of the biggest heavy metal bands in the history of the world for the last 40 years. So anyway, I digress. I thought this was good. I don't think the violence ramped it up to the point where it was a great street fight match. Think back to the days of Cactus Jack versus Triple H and compare that with this, or Randy Orton and Triple H had a street fight match, and you compare stuff like that to this. This felt kind of pedestrian, but I don't think it was a bad match. I do think it's a good match. You have 2 extremely talented wrestlers, 2 guys that really needed to win. McIntyre did pick up the win here. I guess this one right, so for the night I'm 1-1, and overall I'm 8-1. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm going to give this one a 4. I wish it would have went into that upper gear and made it a 5. I kept expecting it to, and it felt a little bit short to me. Next up, we had my second favorite match of night 2. That was the Intercontinental title match with Braun Breaker defending against Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. Again, this was another one where I loved the story between the 4 men, between Braun and the Judgment Day, between the Judgment Day and Penta, between Finn and Dom. The little bit of, is there dissension in the ranks? Is there not? Is Dom going to take advantage of Finn when he needs to? Which he definitely did. I love this. I love the story going into this. I love the winner. I thought the crowd absolutely added to this. When the crowd has been kind of dead over the 2 nights, a little bit of a lackluster crowd, they really were pulling for Dominic Mysterio here, and it really showed the story that was being told in the match and how it worked. I thought this was really fun. Dominic Mysterio picked up the win. I did pick it correctly. I'm giving this one a 4. I thought it was very enjoyable. That leads us into our next match, an unscheduled match, so I didn't have a prediction for this. We have Randy Orton, who's going to have a call out for anybody. And when he called the person out, say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I loved the appearance. I loved the surprise. Hated the match. I thought this match was so much a one-sided match that Joe Hendry did not get a chance to shine. I'm going to give this match a 3. I thought it was lackluster. I think Randy Orton picked up the win. I don't mind the fact that Randy Orton won or beat the TNA champion. It's the fact that he did it in less than 5 minutes, and it wasn't a competitive match that bothered me. I wish it would have been more competitive. I wish it would have went 10 minutes and Joe Hendry got some work in. But alas, it wasn't. That's why it's getting a 3. So since there was no match announced for this when I did my review, I didn't win or lose. I didn't pick right or wrong. I'm staying at 9-1. Now next up, we have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. And I want to say I was disappointed in this match, and when I get to my rating, it won't sound like I'm disappointed, but I expected so much more out of these two. I expected this to be a 5-star match, and it just fell short. It was slow, it was lethargic, they didn't give what I think AJ and Logan could do. We did see Jeff, whoever Jeff is, get involved, which brought out Karrion Kross, which I thought might lead to AJ Styles actually doing something and changing up a bit, but it didn't. He turned down Kross. He ended up losing the match. Logan Paul picked up the win. Right now I'm sitting at 10-1. I did get this one correct, but I don't think the match was as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm giving it a 3. Now next up we have the Women's Tag Team Championship match. We have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez going up against Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was a replacement for Bayley. This may be another one that I have an asterisk with. Much like Joe Hendry, I loved the surprise here, but the match itself wasn't great in my opinion. I thought it was good, just about passable. Becky and Lyra pick up the win here. I did pick Lyra and Bayley to win, so again I'm going to count that as a win for me, because I wouldn't have changed this if I knew it was Becky. But I'm giving this match a 3. I thought it was good, not much better. Then we get Steve Austin coming out on his quad, and I don't know if you guys seen it, but he crashed. He hit the wall and he knocked a lady over, and they were checking on her for quite a while. Hopefully the lady's okay. Austin announced the numbers for the night 1 and 2. I'm hoping the lady's okay. It was good to see Austin, but it's a little bit of a, I wish it was a better thing there. Anyway, it was cool to see Austin, I guess. Then we get to our main event of night 2. Cody Rhodes defending the Universal Championship against John Cena. Cena came out with a very minimalist entrance. Cody Rhodes had the mask, but this time it was the Iron Man thing where it flipped up like Iron Man does. Look, I liked this match and I thought it was a good match. I knew the outcome. I think we all did. Having Travis Scott being the only person come out and not The Rock kind of felt a little bit like last year when Austin didn't answer The Rock, where you're disappointed but not super disappointed, I guess. Ultimately, it came down to Cody was not willing to cheat and Cena was, which gave Cena the win. I thought this was a good match and better than most matches on both nights, but I don't think it was the best match by far. It's probably the 4th or 5th best match in my opinion. I did pick this one correctly, which put me at a total of 13-1. I'm giving the match itself a 4. I thought it was good. And I'm giving night 2 a 4, giving both nights a 4. This was a good WrestleMania, not a great WrestleMania. This is one of those times where it's kind of like when a band releases a double album and you could take half of the songs and throw them away and make one great album. I think you could have done with this WrestleMania that same thing. You would have kept Gunther and Jay, Phoenix versus El Grande, Americano, Tiffany versus Charlotte, the 3-way from night 1, the main event, the women's 3-way from this night, the 4-way Intercontinental match, Priest and Drew, and then this final. I think you would have had a great one-night WrestleMania. Alas, there was what seemed to be, in my opinion, a lot of filler or matches that I would consider not WrestleMania worthy, but more SmackDown or Raw worthy. It gave me just a little bit of a letdown. And that's not just because Cody Rhodes lost, it's because of the way everything was structured. But anyway, I'm giving it an overall of 4. I did predict it right, which makes me feel good about my predictions. I wish it would have made me feel better about the shows. And I know a 4 is good, don't get me wrong, but WrestleMania should be 5s every year. But I digress. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite match? Mine was by far the women's 3-way, and then the men's 3-way from the night before. Those are my 2 favorites. I'd go with the four-way for the IC title or Phoenix versus El Grande Americano. Those two are probably my 3 and 4. And then Cody and Cena is my 5th favorite match of the 2 nights. But anyway, let me know what you think. Hit me down here in the comments. What was your favorite match? Do you think it was a bit underwhelming? Do you think it was good? Where do you rank this? Let me know. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and you've been watching Heel Heat.